Oh, America, it wasn't fair what happened to you. Attacked from the inside, from so many different angles that no one could keep track. All the signs were there. We, the people, failed to listen. Those who did listen didn't take action. Those who did take action were drowned out, destroyed, or imprisoned. Silenced in America, the land where we brag about free speech. It is true, we do have the right to express it any way we want, but they have moved their game beyond that. No longer trying to silence. They no longer try to silence. That's the old fashioned way of doing things, just silencing people, right? That is a dirty game they no longer have to play. Instead, they just amplify the opposition. They don't have to shut you up if they can make it so no one hears you. You can be allowed to free speech all you want when you're a tree falling in an empty forest. No longer silenced. Now we are muted. I weep for my country. It hurts to see what we have become as a nation and as a people. Entitled and arrogant, we have grown cold towards one another, distant. Neighbors have become strangers, all under the flag of inclusion and equity. It is ironic. Those who hate claim to love, and those who love are accused of hate. The world is upside down. Good patriots suffer all across America for trying to wake others up. The once great beacon of freedom and liberty all across the world has become the world's dumping grounds. An open invitation to those who hate us. We are subsidizing our own demise, and we are smiling as we do it because we are fools, sheep, no more, no less. The people are asleep, and the ones that aren't asleep are weak or unwilling. This is the fight of our lives. More accurately, this is the fight for the lives of our children and grandchildren. We are allowing America to be beaten and robbed, destroyed from within. This is the time the framers couldn't conceive. This is where they instruct the people to step in. This is the war that the people must wage. No longer can they continue reaping the blessings of liberty without doing any of the work necessary to support it. Freedom is but one generation from extinction. Just one. Thomas Jefferson called it our duty to do so. He wrote in the Declaration of Independence, quote, "It is their right," speaking of the population, "it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Those of us who allowed it to get this way must set aside our differences and work together. We must be willing to lose. If we are not willing to lose, we are not willing to risk the fight. That makes us slaves to our government, slaves to our things. Give me liberty or give me death. I will not sit by and watch as Lady Liberty is held down and fleeced by the world. I can no longer just watch while America is destroyed, as many predicted it would be, from the inside. My heart truly aches for this next generation. What kind of country are we going to leave them? What kind of lives will their children have? Will they even know freedom? What have we done? Why do we stand idle as our nation is destroyed right before our eyes? On purpose, by people within it. Why aren't these traitors and tyrants being drug out of their offices kicking and screaming? Why are they not being thrown into a small, cold cell in the DC gulag to wait for their fate? Are we the people unwilling to fight? Are we unwilling to risk anything to save this once great nation? We are being pillaged and destroyed on purpose. We are being led by people who hate us. It is time to alter or abolish. Our government is already at war with the American citizen. It has been for a long time. It will continue that way until we stop it or we submit to it. The more we rely on government, the bigger it will get. 95% of what the federal government does now is unconstitutional, yet it happens anyway. The media won't cover any of it. It shows that card briefly so they can claim to have integrity. Then they shuffle the truth back into the deck of the 24-hour news cycle, pushing the cards they want you to remember, hiding the ones they don't. We must stand up. The only other option is to selfishly admit we are only here to take and enjoy the blessings of liberty until we die, leaving our children in a worse position than we were, with steeper odds and much more government control. Those who hate America have done a great job of demoralizing an entire nation. The truth no longer matters when so much is based on what people perceive as their truth. When you have your own truth, it allows you to disconnect from the uncomfortable facts. Statistics don't matter to someone with their own truth. It is discouraging to look around at society today and see so many that seem to be so very lost. They often believe themselves to be the center of the world. They were taught that love doesn't really exist by people who preach love is love and junk like that. They have been demoralized by the hate that has been pushed on them for essentially their whole lives. Wedges were pounded into place at young ages. Left unchallenged, they grew until the then teenager, is convinced that they are facts. Fiction is now perceived as nonfiction. Good is seen as evil. Evil seen as good. The Bible speaks about times like these. I won't go down that road right now, but it is worth pointing out that there was a vacuum created when we kicked God out of society. It helped to create the zombies who walk among us today. Those who count themselves as progressives have lost the ability to hate the sin and love the sinner. They cannot seem to separate the two. If you think critically or prefer individual thought rather than groupthink, you are seen as the enemy. They see you as someone trying to tear down all that they have been fooled into thinking is right and virtuous. In some ways, they were never taught anything but division and hate. From kindergarten to college, they are pumped full of narratives to support the programming, teaching them how to be followers, not leaders. I have been listening for many years, and I have no doubt the drums of war are getting louder. The further down this road we allow America to be drugged, the further we will have to drag it back. The longer we, the people, wait to act in defense of our nation, the more drastic the course correction will need to be. Alter inches closer to abolish with each passing day. Quote, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, derived their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, meaning damaging to its own people, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. That's the Declaration of Independence. We forget that we are all in the same streets struggling to survive. We have been trained to hate, trained to fight each other. The people have been convinced over and over to turn our anger into hate and fight each other in the streets. We raise our fists in misguided anger at people and groups we are told to hate. We hurt, injure, and kill each other in a desperate attempt to get out of the petri dish we find ourselves in. If we work together, we would find we have more in common than we think. Live your life and let me live mine. In the meantime, help me stop them from preventing our pursuit of happiness. Help us to stop them from shredding our Constitution and destroying America for their own selfish reasons. It is not other Americans stealing away your ability to pursue happiness. It is your government doing this to you. Slowly at first, but once we have been conditioned to accept it in small increments, suddenly it happens all at once. They are like, they aren't like, they aren't like you does not equal they won't like you. Yet our youth are taught that people who have different beliefs hate you, right? They must. What a horrible people. Don't worry, you're one of the good ones. Join our group. Think like we do and do like we do. Follow, don't lead. Regurgitate, don't individualize it. Your opinion doesn't matter. It never did. It is only which groups you identify with and how many followers you have. What motivates the youth today? Certainly not achievement. They are taught merely to be average, to not stand out. Stay in single file. Follow the one in front of you for a guaranteed basic table scrap eating and lower middle class problems. They are killing us. They are killing our hope. They are killing our dreams. They are killing our children right before our eyes. The ones that survive the deadly womb will be pounded for the following 20 years with narratives to regurgitate, teaching them what to think and never how to think. They are replacing our dreams for theirs, sliding their hand inside of us to use the people as their puppets. All you have to do is give up your self-respect, commit to virtue signaling, and you'll receive membership to a group. Divide the people. They can't divide the people effectively without groups. Those groups can be easily pitted against each other for money, for sport, for distraction, motives of the globalist and anti-American. Motives of the Cloward and Piven supporting useful idiots who believe the Constitution is evil. By pushing lies and crippling capitalism, they turn the people against their own interests in search of the groupthink of the day. Convincing people with lies, they grow their armies of useful idiots to act as thugs. For this, I admit some accountability. I should have been louder. I will be. I will be standing in the town square screaming at the top of my lungs, speaking truth until my voice leaves me. Progressives in government and media work hard to keep us looking at the distractions, focusing on the wedges that remind us of the groups we are supposed to hate. When we normalize hate as a natural reaction to differences, we do not permit ourselves to know the hearts of others. Only their group affiliation. It makes them easier to hate. Evil people in this world work hard to turn our hearts cold. But why? I love you, even if you don't love me. I love you even if you're not a Christian. I love you even if you don't love yourself, even if you're mean to me, even if I believe you're a bad person. Quote, none are good, no, not one. It is not my responsibility to hate anyone. It is my responsibility to love everyone, to care for people, to offer compassion when it is needed, and correction when it is as well. Biblical correction, rooted in that love, not worldly or personal motivations. I love the criminal and the judge. I can do that at the same time. I can do that at the same time and hate this, and at the same time hate the behavior. The left has somehow eliminated that ability from the youth of today. I can still love you and hate your actions or the trouble they cause. I can love your soul and hate your worldly deeds at the same time. Seems to me the game has been simplified. Now, if you disagree with someone, it is almost expected that you will hate them. It is all or nothing. There is no middle ground, no place for understanding or empathy, no ability to walk a mile in another person's shoes. Perspective has been narrowed, all the while they scream about inclusivity and love. They don't see themselves as evil. They see themselves as righteous, adopting false idol or groupthink. Adopting the false idol or groupthink. They can no longer hear or see the truth. They no longer listen. The new government spokespeople, manufactured and paid influencers now shape their opinions. We the people didn't realize until it was too late how important it really is to know history. We lost the future when they changed the past. We need to see the reality of what is happening to America, and very soon. This is going to be our very last chance. Chaos is coming, and we are not loving each other. That will be the only thing that pulls us all through. Love. Love for one another. Love for the sinner. Love for the saint. Love for the ones that they convinced you to hate. We have to understand what the opposition doesn't want us to be is unified. That is why they consistently push to divide. Wedges are pushed and narratives are created for no other reason than to manipulate the people. The enemy is overwhelming, a gluttonous behemoth that has been allowed to grow into a nation-killing monster. They need us afraid. They know that when we are no longer afraid, we will take control of the power that we placed in their tyrannical hands. We are many. With one unified snap of our fingers, we could purge the demons and restore the Constitution to its rightful place as the shackles that bind this government. America is at the edge. We have already withstood more than any other nation in the world could have. Now we find ourselves teetering on the edge of a cliff. I believe America could fall. It really could. It won't look like it has before in history. Not that anyone knows history. It has been a slow drip, and soon, all of a sudden, we will wake up in a socialist country. It is time. If we do not step up and show up, if we are not willing to risk everything, if we are not willing to give away what they are already taking from us, then America is lost. I am not willing to believe that it is over. I see a battle coming. I hear the drums of civil war, and they are getting louder. At some point, it will be inevitable. We are not there yet, but we are close. Pray for America. Support those who are willing to stand for you, or stand yourself. Just do something. Organize locally and network. Draw close to God. A war is coming. Truly, we are already in one. We just haven't been awake enough to notice or willing to admit it out loud. America has enemies behind the gates and embedded within our own government. The parasites must be purged before the healing can begin. Buy water. Fuel up. This is a winnable fight. We just cannot get scared when we see some patriots taken out of the fight. Some will fall. Yet we cannot allow fear to control our choices. If we do, we are just willingly enslaved. No longer can we allow their distractions to control our reactions. We are Americans. Act like it.
Like we always do about this time.